Okay, so in this video I'm going to present you all the vacuum lines you can find on this Mercedes E-Class with a 2.2 liter diesel engine. It's going to be pretty much the same on other diesel engines from the same generation between 1995 and 2003. Now on this 2.2 liter diesel engine, the vacuum is not extracted from the intake manifold as it is on most of the engines. Therefore, you're going to find a big vacuum pump installed right on the exhaust camshaft. And that's the only source of vacuum for the whole system on the car. It's actually quite easy to be removed. You just need an E10. Okay. So here is the vacuum pump. This is very easy to be diagnosed. You just start the engine and see if you get vacuum here. Here is the part number if you need it. Now let's follow along the line. You've got this big vacuum line which will go inside the brake booster. The brake booster will use that vacuum to amplify basically the power of your braking. So that's how you can brake easy and stop the wheels. And down here you've got a check valve which will allow the air to go this way, but it won't allow the air travel in, which means that the brake booster is also going to act as a vacuum reservoir. And you can see that you've got here another small vacuum line connected to it. There is a T-joint right there, and you've got these two white vacuum lines. One of those white vacuum lines will go around here and it will go to this solenoid which will switch the vacuum on and off for the AGR valve. And you can go ahead and check out the video about the AGR valve. You can see what happens when the solenoid goes bad and the vacuum is not traveling all the way to the AGR valve in order to be opened. Also, the diesel particle filter is going to get clogged up a lot faster because those exhaust gases at the beginning, when you start the engine, they are not going to recirculate properly, and therefore they will travel all of them through the exhaust. So a lot of complication can happen if the vacuum system is not in order. So I believe it's very important to know exactly what to do and what to expect from these vacuum lines. Now, as I said, that white vacuum line which will go around there and it will travel into this reservoir, which is the second vacuum reservoir. Okay, so you can actually see that this thing is just a reservoir for the vacuum. This reservoir goes further to the solenoid, and the solenoid will be switched on and off in order to activate the turbocharger. This side will connect to the turbo, and the solenoid, obviously, it's a very important part. Obviously, the solenoid has as well a 12-volt connector and the evacuation filter. Now, surprisingly, this engine doesn't actually need vacuum. As you can see, you've got the fuel pressure regulator, which is electronic. You've got the pressure sensor electronic. Only the AGR valve needs the vacuum to be open and closed, which is a pretty good design if you will ask me, because if you look at the modern engines, most of them rely less and less on vacuum. So this engine is kind of ahead of its time because it was made between 1995 and 2003. So yeah. Now another vacuum line which you can find is this pink one, which connects on the headlights. On the other headlight there is another pink vacuum line. And if you have a closer look down here next to the computer of the car, you can see the pink line. You can see the pink line going further back, and down there you can see the T connection. Let's see if I can catch this. You've got the T connection, which means that both the front headlights and the back lights are interconnected with each other through this vacuum line. And lastly, another system which uses vacuum are the door locks. So if you have a look back here under the passenger seat, you just remove it and you can see the module for all the vacuum lines which will open and close the door lock actuators. and unfortunately this one is compromised, has been worked on by somebody else. As you can see, was melted, probably was a vacuum leak and somebody tried to repair it. And one of these two ports will be connected to the main vacuum source. Actually, you can see down here you've got the white line which goes back there. On a normal situation, that white line will connect to that module, and the white line comes actually from that T-joint down there. Okay, so now let's see an example on how to test the vacuum lines. You'll need a hand vacuum pump or any vacuum pump you have, and I disconnect it from the solenoid of the AGR valve. I connect it here. I obstruct this line, as you can see, with a lockable plier. Also down there, as you can see, I obstruct it again with a lockable plier, since we are not sure if that solenoid from the turbocharger works. So let's see. Now, in theory, we should have vacuum. The line should be able to hold the vacuum, and you can see it leaks quite immediately. Now this is 0 for me because this pump is broken, but here we go. The line doesn't hold the vacuum, even though all the lines are restricted here. You can also test the connector by obstructing the line down here, and you can see that's how it should look like. We don't know yet where is the problem, and it can be anywhere. Okay, so now I obstruct the vacuum line after the T-joint. I obstruct this line which goes right into the T-joint, so it means the system from this point to the obstruction points should be sealed, and just look at that, the vacuum is holding pretty well. So we know that the T-joint and this line is not leaking. Now the problem gotta be after the T-joint all the way to that vacuum reservoir. So let's release this. The vacuum line is not damaged or anything, it's just a little bit bent indeed, but it will come back to normal because it's quite good quality. The plastic is flexible and it will allow you to obstruct it. As you could see, I used some paper to put it around, and then I used the lockable plier because the lockable plier has these tooths which can damage it if you apply the force directly. So again, I obstruct the line after the T-joint, and let's see, this line should hold the vacuum. Now it's at 0, and as you can see, we've got a problem. We got to find out what's wrong with this line. Here is the point where you can see the line, so let's just pull it out. All right. Okay, so I found the T-joint here. One of the lines goes to the brake booster and one is here, and the other one goes to that door lock module. And what I'm gonna do, because I suspect that the leak is through this line here, which goes to the door module, I will obstruct that line as well and see. Alright, so now I obstruct the line here, the one which goes to the door module, and the line there before that T-joint there. And now this line should hold the vacuum. So let's reconnect this rubber hose, connect the hand vacuum pump, and you can see it does not. Okay, we've got a problem here. Okay guys, so you can see that T-joint, it's actually working well because it's holding the vacuum, considering that I didn't catch it properly here because there's no space. What you can do next is to remove the vacuum line from here. Alright, so I finally released the line from here. Now I'm gonna show you down there because it's a lot more space so you can see it. So I just disconnected this vacuum line and you can see the T-joint here. Now I have to disconnect the line from here. So I will try to use a lighter. Okay. Alright, here it comes. You kind of have to break it because anyway you're not gonna use it. Since the new one, you have to warm it up and then it will mold on this T-joint. So now let's see, let's pull the line and see where is the leak. Okay guys, so finally I found the problem. This was the problem here. See? That's where the vacuum was leaking. Or you can just improvise, of course. So yes guys, that's how you find a vacuum leak. It's more like a detective work. You gotta take first a big area, test it up, then get a smaller and smaller one until you find the leak or the crack. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Also don't forget to subscribe. You're gonna get a lot of free videos about how to repair your car, especially on Mercedes-Benz cars. So stay tuned and I will see you soon.